Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee from All Ends Media, and you are now playing in traffic. I'd like to welcome everybody that's in the chat room, and we are live on YouTube. So if you have any questions, please put it in the chat, and please share, like, and hit the bell. And we got some people over in the chat room. Hello, everybody. Please share this to Facebook and everywhere else. Okay, we got a special guest, Clay.
Hey, how are you? Good,
good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Clay Koon, and I've got a YouTube channel, and I also own and operate a diesel shop, and it's Diesel Medic.
Nice. So, how long you been on YouTube?
Going on 3 years. It may actually be 3 years by now.
Yeah. Nice. So, on your YouTube channel, what do you do there?
Well, our main focus is tools and tool reviews, and we do a good bit of how-to videos as far as working on diesel trucks. And recently, we started doing a lot of gasoline stuff, light and medium duty trucks.
Okay.
We just like to have a good time and work on stuff and see cool tools.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you what, the diesel pickup trucks are becoming very big. How's it in your area?
Well, predominantly, we're a big farm community here. There's a lot of large farms, and diesels has always been around, even back in the old days, the old IDI days.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of diesel trucks here throughout my whole life, and then of course when they come out with the Power Strokes, they kind of boom from there. And then, the 5.9 Cummins, everybody loved them. They got great fuel mileage, tons of power.
Yeah.
So probably, I'm going to say at least 50 to 60% of the trucks in our area are diesels.
Nice. Now, what's your favorite, the Cummins or the Power Stroke?
Well,
or the Duramax?
I like the old 5.9 Cummins. I think I can actually turn my camera. You can see that one right there.
Yeah.
That was my first diesel pickup, and it was a Dodge 3500 with a 5.9 Cummins in it.
I had the same one.
For a dually, it got 26 miles a gallon. I mean,
wow.
You can't ask for anything better than that. Of course, it was a two-wheel drive truck. But that's probably my favorite of all the trucks. I do like the 7.3s a lot, but the new 6.7 Power Strokes are just they're awesome vehicles.
Really?
I mean, they tons and tons and tons of power.
Yeah, I've been out of the game for a while, about 10 years. I used to haul cars on the hot shots, and so I had a Ford and I had a Dodge, and I don't know. I think I like the Cummins a little better.
Yeah.
Yep. But then when I grew up. Oh, go ahead.
The 5.9, it's hard to beat that, I mean, emissions is what killed that engine, but I'm going to say that's probably the best built, best efficient, most reliable diesel engine, to this point. You can't beat those trucks. They're excellent trucks.
Yeah. I moved up to a Freightliner, what was it? Freightliner... what was it? Something 70. It was like a single cab.
FL70?
FL70, yep. And it had the Cummins 5.9 in it, but it was before it was still, what do you call it? It wasn't electronic.
Yeah.
It was older. Yeah, manual, yep. But it was a beast, man. I juiced it up. Yeah.
I tell you, everybody thought those 5.9s were just unbelievable how much, and they did have a lot of power, especially back in the day. But now the new 6.7s, man, they'll stomp all over them.
Really?
The new Power Strokes are they're beasts, man. It's like driving a race car.
Wow. Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. Hey, Clay. Hey, Lewis. How are you guys?
Great. Woke up again. Everything after that's a plus. Yep. Ray should be here in a minute. We got Terry in the house. So Clay, what do you drive? What is your main vehicle?
Um, well, man, I'm a truck fanatic. I've got a lot of trucks, but we got a 2018 Ford F-150 that we purchased new, and then I've got a 2003 F-250 that I purchased new, and but it has the V10 in it.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted the 7.3 when we looked at that truck, and they had already it had surpassed the 7.3s. So I was gonna have to wait and get a 6.0, and I was so glad that I opted out of the diesel. At that time, I wished I would have got a 7.3, but the V10 has been a phenomenal engine for me. I mean, I can't complain.
That's a little better on fuel, right?
Well, it gets 10 miles a gallon whether you're loaded or whether you're empty. It don't care how hard you run it. 10 miles a gallon is all it's going to give.
Oh yeah.
But it wouldn't have been any better with a 7.3.
Yeah. Brian, what do you have? You have a.
I have a 07 F350, and I got the 6.0 in mine. And knock on wood, I've never had any problems with it. And my wife used to have a 03 Excursion, and it was one of the first ones with the 6.0s. And that had all the bank stuff on it. It had the bank turbo and intercooler and EGR stuff. And we had 240,000 on that and never had a problem with that truck.
Yeah. Now, did that come factory?
Yeah, that was all factory. It was a real early model, and had great luck. The biggest thing was that you just had to change the oil. You had to keep that oil change.
Yeah.
And you could tell when the oil was dirty, it would act up or act kind of funny. And
yeah, the turbo will let you know.
Yeah, those injectors, the way that it's crazy. The only thing I ever had problems with those, actually, I just sent mine out to get rebuilt at Thickham. Wouldn't open the injector. You want to talk about having a regulator or a governor on the truck? You have no voltage, no injector power, so it's pretty sensitive with that. So
yeah, that'd do it. When I started moving up into trucks, I got a FLD Freightliner with the that one had a Caterpillar in it, man. That thing was a monster too, 450. And then me being me, I had to tweak it a little bit, so I got one of my guys under the hood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a monster. Wonder where Ray is. Ray's missing here.
Ray still hasn't gotten in yet?
No.
Must be taking one more lap in the pool.
Yeah, or getting ice cream.
Yeah.
So, anybody have any questions for Clay in the chat room?
So I didn't know if you went over, Clay, but when did you did you start the shop, or did you work at a place and then started the shop, or was this a family run business and it was just handed down, or what?
No, actually in 2014 I got my first big truck, and I just I had another shop from here. It's about 17 miles north of here, and I actually had a hot shot truck, and after I run that truck about a year, I purchased this truck, and then with a reefer unit on it, and then in a couple of months we added a couple of Peterbilts to it, and then we just grew the fleet, so I needed a bigger shop, so we moved to this shop. And I kept my trucking business up until about a year and a half ago, I guess it was, and I sold it to a guy that owned a brokerage firm, and I just kept the shop and done my own thing. I learned how to work mainly on pack car engines because that's what I purchased. I never really had any trouble out of the Detroit 60 series. Just a few minor issues. Mostly stuff like air conditioner, airbags, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So when I got the Peterbilt, every time you turn around, just happened to go in the shop. And, you know, it just pop up say seek service. I'd have to carry it to a dealer, spend $150 for them to plug it up. And they say, oh man, it's a glitch. Don't worry about it. You get leave, and then the next day, light comes back on. It starts derating, and you know, I quickly realized I was going to have to learn how to work on pack car trucks, or I was going to go bankrupt. There was no other option. So I just started learning how to fix them and doing everything that I could do on them, and bought the software to be able to do that. And I guess, decently good at working on pack cars, you know, because that was primarily our business for a long time. And then the Ford place is next door, and they actually closed down probably about 9 months ago. So everybody that was taking their trucks there for service and repair work started bringing them to our shop. And
nice.
Actually did that about a year before they ever closed down, because they got down to just one technician.
Yeah.
So he'd send everything down here, and you know, we like F-250s, 350s, whatever, you know. We mostly just work on Fords, though, as far as truck line.
Yeah. Well, I had to learn myself too, man, because they get expensive. You break down on the freeway, you got to call a big rig truck to come get you. Before they leave the shop, it's $700. You know what I mean? So I've worked on my truck many days on the side of the freeway.
I gotta say that. I mean, I tell all the new guys when they get in, I said, you gotta learn how to work on this, because when you rely on, unless you find somebody that you trust, you know, they see that tool truck coming in on a hook, man, they see dollar signs, and they think they're going to take you for a ride. And but it's kind of I find it amazing, because most people don't get involved in repairing stuff. You know, unless you've always had a hobby of it or doing it, or, you know, you just don't find somebody that's going to learn to get involved in that.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, to change over from one business to a whole nother line, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, it's not so much the repair bills, it's the downtime.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like when one of my big trucks would go down, I was losing $1,000 to $1,500 a day, and you know, that racks up really, really quick when you're having to wait in line at a shop.
Yeah.
So,
I ran into a problem. I had one of my tow trucks when I had my repo company. One of my drivers called and said, hey, the transmission went out. So I said, okay, send it to the shop that was close. And the guy's like, yeah, you need a transmission. It's going to take a week to get it in. I was like, oh, man, I can't wait. Or I think he said 2 weeks. So I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'll send my other truck, and we'll take it to a mechanic by my house. And this is the first time I went to this place called Lamco in New Springfield, Ohio. His name's Chris. So I took it there, dropped it off. I was like, you know, put a transmission in it. Call me when it's done. He goes, oh, I'll have it done in, a couple days. Before I got home, he called me and said, hey, it's fixed. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, the PTO broke, and it locked in the gear. He goes, I fixed it. Come get it. So right there, I knew that he was the mechanic to stay with, because he was trustworthy. Because he could have just cleaned my transmission and gave it back to me. You know what I mean? So he was so backed up on, like, he was 2 weeks backed up all the time. Like, he was that good. Everybody went to him. So I would call him and say, hey, Chris, this is what happened to the truck. And he would, on the phone, tell me how to fix it. So I'd be on the side of the freeway with him on the phone, and he's telling me how to fix it. So, man, I would give him Christmas gifts, cards, everything, man. He really took care of me.
Yeah, it's that downtime that will kill you. You know, everybody talks about, well, it's the $150 labor rate. Yeah, that sucks too. But losing all that downtime is the real kicker. And, you know, I mean, even with Matco man Brian, I mean, if the truck's not moving, he's not making money. Yeah. If you're not making money, you're going backwards. So.
Yeah,
well, like I said, you learn to. I've had guys that are completely amazed when I take my tire spoons out and I've broken down a tire and put the tire on the truck to get it going. I said, well, I wasn't going to wait 6 hours for a truck. That's when they told me how long it would take to get. And, you know, of course, ever since, being 14 years old working on a car, I have a little bit of experience, but still, that
Listen,
downtime kills you. So.
listen, breaking down a semi tire is much easier than a motorcycle tire.
It's a lot easier than a car tire or a lawnmower too.
Oh my God! Listen, I took my tires, off my motorcycle, and I took them to the shop. I was like, yeah, how much to put them on? He told me $40 a piece. I was like, man, I ain't paying $40 a piece. So I took them back home. I was like, told my wife, I'm doing it myself. Man, look, I'd rather pay $100 a tire because it took me hours, man. I was sweating and back was hurting. I was tore up.
I'd rather do a 22.5 as I had, any other 22 or 24.5. A 16.5 is tough too. They're pretty tough. But man, I hate doing car tires or anything.
Not by hand at least. Man, I was like, this tire's gonna be easy. It's a motorcycle, right? Man, I was messed up.
Yeah.
Crazy. That is crazy.
So let's see if Ray got in. Ray must be sleeping. He's taking a nap.
Everybody says it's a lot of static and they lost audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on last week, and when you went off, Lewis, the static went away.
Oh, so it's me.
Well, I don't know. I'm not pointing any fingers, but
it's probably me. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, it's clear. Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, it was me.
That was you.
I'm telling you, man, this system, man, is finicky, boy. It'll throw a wrench on you. So, Clay, you on your YouTube, you show tools and stuff. You want to show a couple of pieces?
Yeah. Probably one of my crowning achievements so far is actually something that Matco Man Brian's familiar with. On my YouTube channel, we was just talking on the truck one day, and I mentioned that Matco should come out with a blue ratchet. They need to do something that nobody else has done, and everybody's got red, everybody's got green, everybody's got orange, nobody's got a blue one. Not a tool truck ratchet of any quality. Of course, Cornwell has blue, but it's Cornwell at the end of the day. So, like right after that episode aired, it aired on a Saturday. Monday, I get an email, and it's from Matco, and they're like, "Look, if you want a blue ratchet, we'll make you a blue ratchet." And I thought, man, how cool is that? And there it is.
Nice.
So that's probably one of my greatest achievements so far on YouTube. This was the very first one that Matco did, and it was sent to me. And I'm going to build a shadow box, and that's where it will spend the rest of my life anyway.
Oh, nice.
I sell a lot of blue ones.
I wish they'd come out with it in the regular length, because this one is my favorite. This is the ratchet that I use all the time, almost every day. And I think it's a 12-inch overall. That is the perfect ratchet for everyday use. I recently got the Mac ratchet, and I like the Mac ratchet. The problem is with Mac, it's either locked or it's locked. You can't make it a flex head ratchet. So for a guy that doesn't want a flex head, don't buy the Mac locking ratchet, because you mash the button and you can turn it, but it's locked in one position or the other. And me personally, I don't like a flex head ratchet. I don't like one that's, I call them floppy headed ratchets. I like the locking flex heads. So I'm good with that, but I know there's a lot of guys that, want to be able to unlock it, move it where they want to, and leave it unlocked at times or lock it other times. So that's why I say that is the perfect ratchet. And that thing is super, super, super thin. That's a great ratchet.
Yeah, the other sizes are coming.
Yeah.
The other sizes are coming. They
in blue.
In blue. I think they usually hold that stuff off for like Expo, and when we have our big events that come up, they'll do that. The only problem is with this year, with that, how everything is, I don't know how Expo is really going to end up or how they're going to actually do it. Because unfortunately, this year Expo was in Florida, with it being a hot spot, and a lot of people are freaking out over it. I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to see what happens.
Yeah,
But, But to one up on Clay, even though I know he's a ratchet guy, but we just got our new spark plug socket universals, and they're spring loaded.
Oh wow.
So these just came out, and so if you have a whole bunch of sockets that don't stay straight,
that's
we
it.
have our new spring loaded ones.
You know, I was changing the spark plugs in my caddy the other day, and I was having a fit, man, trying to get that back ones. You know, and my stomach's a little bigger now, so it's harder for me to lean over under the hood.
That you almost need an underhood creeper to work on anything now. The way everything's, it's like they're pushing the engine further back into the passenger compartment. You know, it used to be you could reach the bell housing bolts if you could reach down between the firewall, and now the bell housing bolts is under the back seat. You know, so
yeah.
Just about.
It's going further and further back.
So when the LS swap comes in, I'm taking the whole front end off. I'm not even playing around under the hood. I'm taking everything off. I might even take the windshield out, dashboard, everything.
Take the back windshield out too.
Yeah.
What's up, gentlemen?
Terry, how are you?
What's going on?
Same old. Coming to see you guys in here playing some traffic. What's up? Got my Clay up in the house. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how are you?
Doing all right.
This is Coverman 66. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos, but he's a phenom. YouTube phenom.
Cool.
Killing me.
I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday on the phone, and we was just, shooting the crap, and we was talking about the video that I just did with the little impact driver that did 200 foot-pounds, and the way technology has advanced is just in my lifetime, and of course, older guys see a lot more than what I have, but the technology has advanced so much, like who would have ever thought something this small could jump off a big truck?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And they've got them that, that's about this long. And, they're just little bitty things that can jump off a car. Used to, it was, a pretty good ordeal. You had to pull your jumper cables out, and sit there and wait 10 minutes, and it's crazy, how the battery technology has evolved to make our lives so much easier,
Yeah. When I was doing cars, I'd have to carry a big power pack, in the auctions. And man, it was easy 50 pounds.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
And now they've got them like the one Brian showed. It's not much bigger than a cell phone. It's crazy how everything's evolved over the years. Something as simple as a drill bit. These are my favorite drill bits on earth. This is the Hyper Step 29 piece, and that's the Cobalt 21 piece. Who would have ever thought that somebody would be able to make a drill bit that you wouldn't have to center punch? They're just badass little bits. There's nothing you can say about
the funny
them.
part, what you just said,
just by putting those little.
The funny part, what you just said, Clay, is when you take something that's been around forever, like a drill bit, and like you said, the technology of it, and somebody comes up and, like you said, those hyper steps, man, those things, you can make your own slotted and drilled brake rotors. That thing just is crazy, drilling through. And you don't, you just
I mean-
never stop. It's not like you're going to burn them up,
I need
I
to
like
look
those
into
It takes
those.
a lot to burn them up.
I would have
I like
loved to
those little
see the
bits
guys.
that tap. Like not
The
only
guys-
drill a hole, but to put a thread in the hole. You see those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
game changer.
Mhm.
Do you sell those, Brian?
Like, wouldn't you like to see the guy's face at Matco?
Do what?
Do you sell those drill taps?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty nice.
Like, wouldn't you like to see the guy's face at Matco when he walked in and said, "I've got a new drill bit"? And
Yeah.
he had to get some crazy looks like, "Oh, you put a step bit on the end of a drill bit. Okay, that's going to work." Until you try it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into those because I'm trying to get my metal tools up for when I start working on this car. So I'm buying little metal stuff here and there.
Yeah, those hyper
Well,
steps are incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible drill bits.
They are awesome. But this is what I don't understand. Like, if I work for Matco, those guys that doing y'all's promo videos, they're not paying for those tools.
No.
They're getting paid to play with tools. Like, that's a dream job, right?
Mhm.
The video that Matco did when they released the original Hyperstep drill bits, whoever was running their production team, if I was over Matco and they walked in with that video, I'd have fired the whole crew. They pretty much had Antron Brown drilling through a beer can. Like, does that really impress anybody? A 30 seconds inch of a piece of aluminum? Like, you're not proving nothing. We
Especially
bought
with
them on
that-
the truck, walked straight in the shop and drilled 2 holes through a truck frame. And I paid for the bits, Like, I don't understand why these tool companies don't go ahead and push it to the limits, because they got a lot more control over what they release and how they release it.
Mhm.
Because we're going to do it as soon as it hits the street.
Yeah.
If you got an impact that says you can do 1,400 foot-pounds, it damn well better do it, because I'm going to put it. We've already went through that with the impact test. We pushed it to 1,400 foot-pounds.
In the almost 20 years that I've been with Matco, this has been one of my largest and hugest complaints is in our marketing department. And the reason why they are suit and tie bean counters.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never touched a tool.
Well, here's the thing.
They don't want, the problem is that that's good enough for the suits and ties. They don't understand the second part of that. And as much as
it'd be beneficial. It'd be more beneficial if they got a mechanic to show it.
I know
it'd be cheaper for them.
They don't think that way. When we were at Expo in Las Vegas, and Steve Darnell, a welder up, has been trying to be involved with Matco. He loves his Matco distributor. He buys a lot of Matco tools, and he's been trying. He's like, hey, I want to promote with you guys. I'm not asking for a paycheck. I want to promote your stuff.
He'd be the man to do it.
When he came in, and it's out on my YouTube page, when he came up there and all his trucks and cars, he cleared out the Expo floor. And he crashed a place, and the CEO comes out, and they're all talking. Later that day, after Steve left, I'm getting ready to have lunch, and the CEO, Mr. Gilmore, says, hey, Brian, come here for a minute. I go over, hey, Tim, what's up? Have lunch with me. We sit down, and he goes, do people really like that stuff? They have no concept, no idea.
Wow.
And I said, if you don't jump on this, somebody else will. I said, we had the opportunity with, what's those motorcycle, Orange County
OCC.
choppers?
OCC.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh, yeah, but look where that ended up. I said, yeah, but that was over a 10-year run.
Yeah.
Look how big they were.
Look what Craftsman just did with Gas Monkey.
Yeah.
They gave them 4 or 5 toolboxes to go in their shop and some tools, and it's on every single episode. So.
Yep. And those guys, as much as much as you can tell and talk to them about it, they are super conservative on that, and it takes a lot. And then the only problem is if you step over that line with them, then it's a whole. I mean, it's a whole nother game changer, and that's why you have to. It's a finicky or a fine line,
Yeah.
and I told them, I said, you guys are absolutely insane. They had a movie offer for a gun. They were going to redo the Gumball Rally, and somebody wanted a tool truck in there with a Matco tool truck in the race.
They didn't do
And
it.
they said, I don't know about that. Who watches that?
You don't know about that. You scoop that truck up and you put it in the TV.
Yeah,
But
I
these
hadn't
guys,
thought about
like I
that.
said,
No.
Well, think of this. You're selling tools that people use for the automotive industry. So it's not hard math.
Again, it's the people that are up there. Suits and ties and bean counters are not the same as a mechanic or a grease monkey or a guy working on a car.
Yeah.
That's just like
Well, I just think
that's just like in the TV field. Like I hear a lot of these like I can't name people, but they say, like the executives, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. That's why they always try to put drama in everything. Car guys don't want to see drama. They want to see results.
Yeah, exactly.
But people, they feel that they want to see some drama, and that's what's killing TV shows right now. There's always got to be some type of drama, like throwing a tool through a wall or yelling at your nephew or something stupid. And they need to listen to what the car guy wants. Which to me isn't drama.
Just like Diesel Doctor, Matt, he says men in jeans and overalls built this country, and boys in suits ruined it. And he's absolutely right.
Ooh, nicely said.
The problem I feel like we have right now in our country is everybody's divided. Everybody wants to make it this or that. Instead of everybody working together to come to a positive outcome that everybody can live with. Quit being so closed-minded. And another thing that's ruining this country is like, I know Brian sees this in his business because of insurance costs. Every time you turn around, somebody's wanting to sue you for $1 million. All of that crap needs to go away. I mean, that's what's ruining America. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of these tool companies. They're worried that, hey, I'm going to build a tool. Somebody's going to get hurt with it. We're going to get sued. They need to quit. Like, America needs to stop and be like, look, this is a bunch of crap. We need to go back to our roots. We need to go back to working men built this country, and let's run it that way again, because this wing fighting with this wing, it ain't doing it but destroying everybody. And the working man's the one that's paying the price for this. Every one of us that gets up and goes to work every day are the ones that's paying the price for them to sit on the thrones in Washington and receive these big expensive paychecks to keep pushing the working guys down.
Yep, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
If they had to follow the rules that they put on us, if they had to follow that, everything would work out better too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got different insurance, they got different everything, laws.
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think any of those guys missed a check because of COVID?
Not a one.
Nope. They should have been the first one to get their pay cut. They're staying at home. They don't have to work.
Yep.
But the working guys, the ones that's having to pay, like the tool guys every week, man, you got to come out here and do it. If the government shut down, oh well, I still got my bills to pay. I don't get a free ride, so you got to get up and do it. And I think politicians forget that.
When we have our little city or town parade, or I don't know what you want to really call it, but usually there's a whole bunch. It's usually during voting time, and there'll be election officials, walking the crowd, shaking hands, kissing babies, and so forth. And it's always funny because they'll come up and I'll say, "Hey, how much is a gallon of milk?" And the guy looks at you.
They don't know.
He's like, "What?" And I said, "How much is a gallon of milk?" I don't know. And I said, well, then you're not my man. If you don't even know how much it costs for us working saps to put food on the table or what we had to worry about, I don't need to hear your BS. And,
That's true.
you know, that's...
Everybody forgets, what real life's about, like everybody's so wrapped up in social media and all the glorified pictures that everybody's got on Instagram. There's a lot of jealousy in the world. People forget that, hey, Matco don't own your truck. Brian owns his truck. He worked his ass off to buy that truck and buy that inventory to put on that truck. None of us has had anything given to us. We all worked for what we have. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that, especially like all of us actually put ourselves in the public light, and it draws a lot of attention. And a lot of times it's negative attention from people that are jealous, I'm not going to hate Brian because he's got a tool truck, or I'm not going to hate you because you got a nicer truck, or you got an awesome drum set back there. Why should I hate on you for that? That should give me something to inspire.
Yeah, drive
if
for
that's what I want to go after. Like get off your ass and go to work. Anybody can have what any of us has. All they have to do is set their mind for it and to go out every day and be willing to bust your butt. At the end of the day, get what you want.
You know what? I get it.
Everybody forgets about that.
Yeah, in my community, I get, where'd you get that? Are you selling dope? No, how about I go to work every day? You know what I mean? When you're in bed, I'm at work. How about that? It works both ways. You can sell dope and go to jail, or you can go to work and buy what you want.
And people don't see, like I said, people don't see the end. They see the reward. They don't see the road it took to get to that reward. Now I know, Clay, you got a YouTube channel. Now I don't know if you do your editing and all that stuff. I don't know but you probably know. Once the film starts rolling, okay. Now taking the footage is the easy part. Now you got to go in the back and you got to start doing editing. So like I always say, for every 4-minute video that I do, for 4 minutes, I'm spending a couple of hours. I would say probably about 10 hours with the editing, going back, looking at it, make sure that's right. Now you got to choose a little bit of music in the background. You got to open the open border. You got to do. So it's more than just, oh, it took me 4 minutes to do that video. No, it took like, and the footage, the 4-minute footage, I must have about maybe for 4 minutes, I would probably say about maybe 3 hours of footage and now you got to go and edit it, 3 hours. Yeah. And so I get a lot of people that say, like, I've lost friends behind this whole cover man thing. I lost a couple of friends, and Kevin Tetz once said to me, this is before, like all this started happening. He said to me, he says, Terry, you're going to lose a lot of friends on that road. And it's good because you're going to start making up tons of friends. And like, okay, Louis Lee, he's a friend. My man Brian, he's a friend. Everyone in this chat room, most of them are friends now. Like, so for the friends that I've lost because of this road, I gained many of them. And the people in the room and people on this screen, they want the best for me. I know it, just like I want the best for them. And it's a shame that you have to go through something like that, because if I hadn't did these videos, I'd probably still be friends with these people or thinking that they were my friends. And so I'm not going to stop, doing something that I love, which is this whole video thing. And just because I don't know if it's jealousy or if it's, I don't know what it is, but I had one friend told me that I don't deserve what I've been getting. He told me that. He said, I was
that's
like,
not a friend,
How don't I deserve?
That's not.
It's ridiculous.
That's people you don't want in your life, that you don't need in your life.
No. And it's funny because Shaq from Iron Resurrection, he told me, because I was telling him, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling him how when someone comes at me, because you're going to get negativity, and he was telling me that I was telling him that everyone gets one. Okay, I'll get on. Okay, explain why you feel this, that Terry's this, whatever. He goes, don't even give him that opportunity, and he's right. He says, by you giving that person the opportunity, acknowledging them that they may say something that you didn't like, means you're taking away from people that actually like what you do. Concentrate on those. Don't concentrate on the person spending like 20 minutes trying to convince someone, like that they might have been wrong. And I was just like, I never looked at it that way. And I'm like, he's completely right.
Yeah.
You're completely right. Well,
Well, YouTube will definitely bring the haters out of the woodwork for sure. Um, like I get so many negative comments like, "Why do you waste your money buying the tool truck tools? Why, you don't use your tools? They're all clean." Blah blah blah. I get so freaking sick of that, but I just ignore it because most of those people, they don't own tool truck tools. They don't know what I do. They
the
don't know
Warriors,
me
keyboard
personally.
Warriors.
And at the end of the day, who cares? Like who
Yeah.
really cares? Like, here's the way I look at it, and I've explained it several times. I take care of my tools because I remember when I didn't have the money to have nice tools, and I always admired the guys that did.
Yep.
And when I finally got to the point where I could buy nice tools, each one of these tools, like to most guys, that's a ratchet, not a big deal. That's just a ratchet. To me, that's $150 sacrifice that I use the money to buy this ratchet
Make
versus
money.
put in a kid's college fund or buy something for the house or take my family on a trip. But I also knew that this was going to provide for my family.
Yep.
Not necessarily, I could have done it with another ratchet, but at the end of the day, you work hard, you want to reward yourself. So, what is it better to me to go out and spend $150 down payment on a ski boat or buy something that I can make money with? So,
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. Well said.
Hey, Clay, how many guys you got working for you? And the second part of that question is, do you are you mentoring or looking for or helping like a local high school or anything like that about the field and getting people involved?
well, actually, the local high school actually used some of our videos, some of our how-to videos, when my son was going there, and we was one of the few channels that we don't cuss, and we try to keep it kid friendly. We don't involve politics in anything. We don't involve any negativity at all. We strictly focus on the job at hand. But I had two other guys working in the shop with me, and one of them went back to his old job. So now it's just me and the tall, skinny guy that everybody knows as Special Order Bill. And he's actually been out. I'll give you a little backstory about Bill. When Bill was a little boy, him and his sister had genetic defects with their eyes. Bill was actually born with cataracts. So he's fought issues his whole life, health wise. And Bill's dad recently just had a kidney transplant and a liver transplant on the same day. Bill's mother is totally blind, so he's had to kind of
Wow.
take care of his mom while his dad's kind of recuperating. So I've pretty much just been rolling the boat along, doing my thing, handling it however I can here in the shop by myself until he gets back in the swing of things, and then we'll kind of move forward from there. If business continues to do as well as it has, we might look at another guy. But to be honest with you, it's kind of nice just taking the slow life, because I always thought the more the better, the more the better. But of course, the more people, the more overhead, the more work you have to do to justify the overhead. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm making the same amount of money here as I was when we was three guys deep and constantly beating my head against the wall trying to keep parts in the door and work coming in and work going out and getting paid on the work we've done. So
Yeah, it's definitely less headache. I have a handful of shops, especially after with the coronavirus here, that have just been a one man or one and a half type of guy. And at the end of the day, they tell me they make just as much or a little bit more money and a whole hell of a lot less headache.
The stress. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind
kind of
of
nice because
it's kind of amazing.
you don't have to worry about it.
Some of these guys, like I said, they're making almost the same amount of money in 3 days instead of killing themselves for 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
As you get older, you start to figure that out, and it stinks that you have to wait till you're in the 40s or 50s to figure it out. But
yeah.
you're right.
Well, I've had a lot of people make fun of me about the age of my service truck and stuff, but here's the way I look at it. I looked at buying a new service truck and I kind of weighed it out. my truck's paid for. I don't owe a penny on the truck or any of the tools that's in it. So if the truck sits all week without making a run, it didn't cost me anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the new truck I was looking at was $1,600 a month. And I got to thinking about that. You know, it's pretty nice if I go out and I charge, say, $400 on the service call. By the time I do the service call and the labor and the parts markup, I can walk away with $400 to stick in my pocket. I don't have to wonder where that other $1,200 is going to be just so I can break even on the service trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, I thought, man, it would look good for business, you know, if I had a nice new service truck with my lettering on it. But at the end of the day, if you're broke down on the side of the road,
You
I
don't
don't care
care.
if the dude rides a bicycle up there to get my truck going. You know, you don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to step back and look at the totality of the situation. And I'm like, you know what? That's the dumbest thing I ever thought of. Why would I buy a truck and spend that kind of money a month when it's not going to make me money? It's going to cost me money to have it. So
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
just keep patching up our old trucks and going about our business.
Yeah, trust me. When my old Isuzu, I did not want to give that up, and I know technically I had a franchise agreement, and I know what I signed, but man, I hate it when I had to give up going back to a truck payment and everything else, and of course, you know, that was all pre DEF. So, you know, I didn't have any of that headache. And this new polish shit that I have out here, I you know, it's every week I got to work on it for something, and it's very aggravating. So,
Yeah, that new
That's
system,
like our
man, is
Matco
terrible.
dealer, Matco Michael. He had quite a bit of trouble out of his Isuzu. It was a 2016 model, I believe, right? And then Joe Gonzalez, the dealer that's south of us, his truck's been in here probably more than it has at his shop or his own house. That thing was tearing up every single day. Like he'd call me, man, you're not going to believe this. This thing's tore up again. And it'd be totally separate things. Like it'd be emissions this time. We'd get the emission system straightened out. Then it'd be the ECM wiring harness, or it'd be an injector harness, or it'd be, I mean, I don't see how the guy's staying in business. I'll be honest with you. He had to play his cards right and have some money set aside instead of rolling it back into, you know, himself, which was the smart thing to do because he actually sold the truck and he's having to wait 2 more weeks to even get the new truck. So, like, he's been out of work about a month.
yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I joke about it, but my old Isuzu, in the 16 years, only lost 1 week of work, and that's when I blew the trans out, and you know, I pulled the trans out, pulled it all apart, and rebuilt it, and I had to wait for parts, and I had no forward gears, and the drum had broken, and man, I put that thing back in, and it was back up the next week, and everybody was dumbfounded because, like I said, you know, it was, you know, like I said, I had to do it, and I wasn't going to wait. But, you know, I joke about it, that truck only left me for 1 week with the issue. And, man, I tell you, every time I got a call and they tell me, oh, it's going to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
You got to do it.
That's when you start learning a new system, you know, or messing with that DEF, you know.
Yep. Ray just texted me and said he had problems with his internet, so that's why he couldn't make it in.
Oh.
Said it's down.
Well, yeah. You know, like earlier we was talking about the tool companies and their kind of their crappy YouTube videos that they put out, not really displaying the tools. But what they need to do is step back. The guys are buying tool truck tools because of what reason? The number one reason is they're a better quality tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't they showcase that? Of course, the service that you get from a tool truck, you'll never get that through an internet service, you know, or internet ordering service, I should say.
Right.
But I don't understand why they don't really showcase and push those tools. Like, you know, I know you're talking about the bean counters and stuff, but they could pay a guy way less money than what they're paying those bean counters to come in there, and
And
he
turn
could
it
tell
up.
you exactly what that would do. He could tell
Yeah,
you
I know.
exactly how much weight that thing was going to take. And that video is what's going to sell that wrench, not the, I'm going to drill through this beer can right here, boys. Let me
Yeah.
show y'all how tough these drill bits are. And
Yeah.
he, the guy was a race car driver. Like, they really should have used that to showcase, when they launched those hyperstep bits. But I believe that Matco, that was a huge failure on their part when they released that video, because everybody was laughing. Like, I know Matco thought it was great, and their film crew did an awesome job filming it. But everybody that watched that video on this side of the screen, everybody was laughing at that pitiful video. Like, man, I can drive a pencil through a beer can. I don't need a drill bit.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen that
It's
commercial.
pretty sad.
I don't think I've
Well, hey, well,
We're going to YouTube it.
I
don't know if
I've
I
done
want.
a lot of talking, and like I said, they got them snowballed, and they're going to continue to pay. And like I said, hopefully one day we'll have a marketing department that will understand.
Well, the new generation coming up will probably change it.
I don't know. The new generation. I mean, this field's almost dead. So
Yeah.
trying to get somebody in, or get somebody that's want to work, like Clay says, if somebody's want to work, working on big trucks isn't light duty stuff. So
Right.
getting somebody interested in that is very hard. And I
Yeah.
see the decline.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably before I'm dead and gone that mechanics are probably going to be one of the highest paid people in the whole United States, because the whole world has got to be so lazy. They don't nobody want to work anymore.
That's true.
If it ain't on a computer or a video game or something like that, nobody wants to work for any kind of money. Everybody feels like they're entitled to everything. And, guys like us are going to be the ones that capitalize on that. Oh, you're too lazy to change your oil? Yeah, $100. I'll do it for you.
But the catch-22 on that is the reality of TV, like Terry was saying. They've made it that they don't show what you're really doing. They think you can rebuild a show car in a 45-minute episode on,
Pitch and rides.
Yeah, custom rides. And they don't understand. I've had a guy say that, and I was like, well, you don't understand that there's 9 guys standing there, and they do a 40-hour work week. So you take 9 times 40, that's how many hours they put into that job. It's just not one guy doing it. You have 9 people. Now, when you come to a shop, and it's just you, and they're going, man, Clay, why did it take you all day to change my oil? Because, you're answering phones, you're running around chasing the chickens, and, trying to make sure you got paid. So, you end up spending the whole day, and it's hard to do that. That's why a one-man show is pretty difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
It is. And getting to a stopping point that's one of my biggest issues that I have. Like, I'm one of the guys, when I start on something, I want to finish it. And I've had to learn to pace myself. Like, okay, this is where I need to stop on this job till I get all of my parts in and then move forward. And that's where I have a struggle, because nothing aggravates me any more than having to push a vehicle to the side and wait. I don't like that. I like to have, when I pull it in, I want to, remove everything that I need to remove, replace everything I need to replace, get it out the door and get paid on it. Unfortunately, our parts house here local is pretty much turned into a walk-in drop auto. Like, you walk in and they order it. That's how it's going. I don't know if it's getting worse because of COVID, or maybe the auto repair business has dropped and the guy that owns it's looking, to maybe get the inventory down to get out. I don't know. But when you can't get an oil filter for a LS engine,
Yeah,
because they don't have one in stock, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It also. I don't know. I think it also it's also the cars themselves, the dealership. Because when I was a kid, now when you used to be I used to have a cousin older than me who was a shop mechanic at Chevrolet. You go there. Not only are these guys working on the cars, but if you look in their parking lot, every one of them had a bad ride. I mean, it was just like, I mean, each one of them, they had the IROC, they had a 442 was in there. These are just mechanics. So they wrench on their own stuff. They were true mechanics. Where now, I have a nephew who pretty much is what's it called, a Ford mechanic. I'm sorry, Brian. It's not anything. And everything that they do basically is they got to look at the book, see how many hours it takes. They're not fixing anything. They're pretty much just replacing things.
Yep.
You know, back in the day, man, you had a spun bearing, you're ripping the engine apart, and you're taking that bearing out, and you're replacing it, putting that engine back together, throwing it in the car, be done with it. Now they just replace the whole engine.
Yeah.
I guess it's better, but I mean, it's just a thing where no one's really fixing anything. They just more or less just change it.
Yep.
You know?
No diagnosis.
Well, you know, I had a minivan in here. It was a Dodge Caravan, like a 2013 or something like that. I don't remember the year. A very common vehicle around here. You know, most moms or grandmoms has got a minivan. So the car come in, and it needed brakes on it. So I got in there, and the lady kept talking about her car's pulling. So I started on the passenger side doing the brake job. And when I got the driver's side, I took the wheel off. I called and ordered my brakes. I could see in there it needed rotors too. So I called and ordered the brakes and rotors. Got the passenger side tore down. Got to the driver's side, and the caliper was sticking. Like it was still had pressure on it. So I started checking everything. I'm going to find out the caliper itself is bad. They didn't bother to call me back either, by the way. They didn't have but one brake rotor in stock, and the caliper was 3 days out. And it's sitting on my lift, tying up my whole operation, waiting on a brake caliper. And that is a tough call to call the woman that owns this van. They're like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's going to take me 3 days to do your brake job.
Yeah.
Like, what does that make it look like, you know, for her shop? She don't care that they don't have the parts in stock. All she's going to do is tell everybody, well, it took them 3 days to put brakes on my van.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because back in the day when I worked at the dealership, we used to rebuild them. We would rebuild the brake calipers. And, you know, we did, and like I said, hell, half the stuff we rebuilt and, you know, put back on. And it wasn't until the first person that sued McDonald's for burning themselves on a hot cup of coffee, the bean counters came down and said, we now replace this stuff. We no longer take the liability. And that's why we're where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes way back to even when you get back to your whole system. And the first person that got that payday changed the whole world on what we look at.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I learned how to rebuild a leveling valve on a big truck was because I couldn't get one. You know, I was going to take my truck out of service for like 2 days waiting on a part. I'm like, for a leveling valve? Are you serious? So I was like, man, there can't be that much to it. I take the 4 screws out of it, pull it apart. It's O-rings.
Mm-hmm.
O-rings is all it's in it.
There you go.
I spent $3 on an O-ring kit that done 25 leveling valves. So I said, you know what? I need to make a YouTube video and show people how simple it is to rebuild a leveling valve. And that has probably got the most positive comments of any video I ever had, because everybody's like, man, I'm so proud that you showed me this. I spent less than $1.50 to rebuild this leveling valve versus $40 to $50 for a new one. You know, and there's a lot of things that can be done that way. Like, you know, the sad part is a lot of the manufacturers, like, you can't hardly buy a clutch for air compressor anymore. Like, your AC compressor goes out, you got to replace the whole freaking thing. And it's just a clutch.
Yeah, they're making it where you break it if you take it apart.
Yeah, you break it.
It's crazy how they're doing it.
Yep.
And the same way with brake chambers now. You know, they've got these sealed brake chambers where you can't bust them apart, piggyback them, or replace the diaphragm. You have to replace the whole chamber.
Yep.
You know, and that's a lot of waste. If you think about that, you're replacing a whole entire part when all you need most of the time is a rubber diaphragm. That's the world we live in.
And that's funny because I did a video on my Trailblazer SS. The inner tie rod on that rack went out. Now, they said that you can't replace it. You got to throw the whole rack out. You got to get a new rack. I said, that got to be impossible. That's got to be impossible. There's got to be, because I'm sitting there looking at it. I said, there's got to be a way this thing can come out. I went to, what was it, Harbor Freight and got the little, tool that you put the impact on the end, and it has like a crow's foot, and it started coming off. I was like, oh, all right, cool. Then I went and I looked on the side of the tie rod now that I had it out and found one, compared one that's the same one, put it in. That's it. And I ain't talking about like a $700 rack, because this is supposed to be some type of high-end rack on that truck, including the part and late and my time, maybe $200 for that. I mean, that's almost if I charge myself about an hour and a half.
And the tool.
Yeah, and the tool is $15-$30, And I put that out there, and like you, that's like one of my highest videos, especially for Trailblazer owners. They're like, thank you. And I get, I just replaced my rack. They charged me like $900 to replace that damn rack. And, I could have done this. I was like, sorry.
And the funny thing about that though is that you have a percentage of a chance that the bushing inside the rack is actually bad, not the inner tie rod.
Now this one was flopping around, so I knew it was the inner tie rod. It was flopping around.
So a lot of times people say, "Oh, you need an inner tie rod." They go to put the tie rod on. Of course, they're still play because the bushing's bad in the rack. So instead of looking at the problem, they just say, "Okay, we just want to replace the whole thing." That's the way we've become in this field of just replace everything. I surprised the guy the other day because I took over an area from a previous Mako guy, and that retired and so forth, and he just didn't mess with stuff like that. But I walked in and they're like, "Oh, my air gun's broken. I guess I got to buy a new one." And I'm like, "Well, if you want, but let me take a quick look at it." $35, it was fixed. It just needed a trigger valve. And I'm, like I said, a little different. I will fix it before, replacing it.
Yeah, I'm going to swing the back.
Of course, in the long run, the guy was extremely happy. And, of course, then he came out and bought another $400 worth of stuff. So I guess I still got my new impact out of it.
That's what makes a great tool, guy, because a lot of them would have been like, man, I'm selling this $35 part that I may make, say, $15-$20 off of, or I can sell him a whole new impact where I might make $100 off of it. And that's what makes a great tool dealer, because from now on, you've always got that dude's business. Like, you'll always be able, you can be $10 higher than the next tool guy, and he's always going to give you that business because of that. People don't forget
took care of it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, like I said, it's, again, I can't see throwing away something that can be fixed. So.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but
what about having the experience with someone who has one of those little things that you plug into your computer, and it tells what's wrong with the car, and it tells you exactly how many hours they should spend on it? Oh, the mechanic should spend like 3 hours on this job, but it doesn't mention that, okay, now your car is old, so we got to take the whole exhaust down and to get to this part, and then we take the exhaust down, the exhaust is rotted, and then you got to replace that part, and it doesn't tell all the variables. Oh, wait a second, the bolt broke, so now you can't just buy one, you gotta buy 7. Yeah.
That's when you get blamed. That's when you get blamed for it.
You don't get blamed, no doubt. As soon as because that little tool tells them, it should take like 2.5 hours. At $80 an hour, it should be $160, right? Include the parts. No, you give them a bill for like $600. Why? They want to know why. You just show them the parts. These are all the parts we have to replace.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It
really is.
And people never, they don't ever want to pay for those. Like, well, I didn't break that bolt off. You broke that off. Why should I have to pay for it? Well, if your car wouldn't tore up, you know, I wouldn't have had to take that bolt out that broke.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to pay to have those exhaust manifold bolts drilled out. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like if I just worked on vehicles, I think I'd enjoy it a lot better. But I don't know. I'm not a people person. You know, I don't really like dealing with people that much. You know, as far as customers, because like one thing that I hate, they'll pull up here and say, "Hey," which AutoZone's right across the street. AutoZone told me to come over here. I need a O2 sensor. Okay. So from the first couple of times I would argue with them and tell them what was wrong with their car, and they still wanted me to do it. Now I don't do that. I'll be like, okay, if you want me to put that O2 sensor on because AutoZone told you to, I'll put the O2 sensor on. But if it don't fix it, you gotta pay me to fix and diagnose the problem. Yeah, just put that O2 sensor in. Okay, not a problem. And then you call them, well, I put the O2 sensor in there. Your problem's still here because it's not the O2 sensor. You know, you got other issues. Like the best one I had was an O2 sensor, and it ended up being intake gaskets. So the lady that did not comprehend with her how an O2 sensor, you know, I don't understand. AutoZone told me that's what it was. I said, ma'am, I can't help that. But this is what your problem is.
No,
And
AutoZone didn't tell you. It's the computer at AutoZone told her.
Yeah, true. Like, or, you know, the lady says, AutoZone says that it should only take about 30 minutes for you to put this in. Okay.
Have AutoZone do it.
There you go. Have AutoZone do it.
I get so sick of dealing with that kind of stuff. Like it drives, like some of my best customers are the ones that drive up here and be like, hey man, I don't know what's wrong with my vehicle. Here's the keys. Holler at me when it's done. Like you have to run them down and be like, whoa, what's it doing? What's it doing? You know, find out some of the symptoms of it. But those are the customers that I'd rather deal with versus this is my problem. I know what it is because my buddy's cousin's nephew's sister's boyfriend's best friend is a mechanic, and that's what he told me was wrong with my car.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I just hate dealing
Yeah.
with.
Hey, it's the same thing. I can walk into a shop and say, this tool will make your job easier. Well, what do you know? Okay, I don't know anything. I just drive around all day, so.
In the air conditioner. You know, Clay, I do leather work, so people will come to me with Gucci or different purses. Hey, can you fix this? And I'm like, well, I really don't like to mess with other people's stuff. You should have bought a Lee Custom from the start. So there's, oh man, come on, it's easy fix. So I get myself in a mix where I got to take it apart. Now it don't look 100% when they bought it, because I had to, do my thing to it. Now they're arguing with me because it don't look the same. Like, listen, buy a Lee Custom, you won't have these problems. If I got a 10-year warranty and you just drop it off, I'll make you a new one.
I don't
know. You may say this too.
I can't see anyone arguing with you, man. You're like, the camera don't show how tall this man is. This man's like 6'7".
Listen, it's always the little guy want to argue with me too. It'd be the littlest guy. Listen, when we were in Vegas,
I've got some customers.
When we were last year at SEMA, right? Me, my daughter, my niece, and my wife walking through the casino, and this little guy, he's probably 3'5". And he's trying to holler at my niece. And so I'm like, look, man, we don't, let's go. I'm trying to push him off. And he's taking off his stuff. He wants to fight me. So I'm like, okay. I'm taking my glasses off. My daughter's taking her earrings off. And we're about to go at it, right?
Everybody's going.
It's always a little guy.
See, I've got some customers that think when you do a repair for them, from that day on, everything is a lifetime warranty on that vehicle.
Yep.
Like I had one lady, this was probably the best one I ever had. She come in and she had a tire pressure monitoring system light on. Well, it come to be her right rear tire. I pulled it out, put her in there, reprogrammed it.
Uh-oh.
No lights on, it's reading the pressures. Everybody's happy. I don't know what you did to my car, but my headlight on my passenger side is out. It was working when I brought it in here. I said, ma'am, you brought your car in here in the daytime. We're only open from 8 to 5. It's still light at 5 o'clock. Do you not think it could have burnt? Nope. Nothing would satisfy her unless I replaced that headlight for free.
Yeah.
So
People
I
don't
put
get
the
it.
headlight in there. Like 2 weeks later, she come back in the shop. I'm like, and I seen her when she come in, and I mean, it's a nice car, pretty new car. She come in, and I was like, here we go again. She goes, there's something wrong with my car, and I think y'all did it because now it's got a leak in my driveway. There's a leak in my driveway. It's never had a leak. I've never, ever had anything leak out of this car. So I was like, okay. So I pull it in. The car is dry as a bone. The only thing dripping is the AC condenser or the evaporator. I mean,
Yeah.
it's running out of the evaporator too. I said, was it on the, kind of on the passenger side? Yep. That's exactly. Did you find where it's leaking? I said, yes, ma'am. That's probably because you had your air conditioner on. That's the only thing. Like I had to take pictures and show her there's no oil under the car, no transmission fluid, no brake fluid, no fuel leaking. That's the kind of crap I get to deal with.
Sometimes it's hard working with people, man. It really is.
Wow.
Yep. Well, hey, Clay, you could sell a guy a $5,000 scanner, and he hands it back to you next week and said, hey, this didn't fix the car. And I'm like, well, what do you mean it didn't fix the car? He goes, well, it told me it was an O2 sensor, and I put one in, and it didn't fix. I said, did you read the scanner? I mean, do you understand how to read the scanner? Well, it says that's what it is. So it's on both sides. So
tell them to go to AutoZone.
Yeah, AutoZone to fix it.
Yeah. They'll tell you how long you should tell the mechanic to charge you for too. Just take it AutoZone.
Wait,
that was my final straw. What was that, Lewis? Sorry.
I got to jump off. I got an early morning.
I got to put to bed.
So I'll let somebody else jump in. Clay, man, I really appreciate you coming on. And I tell everybody that comes on, you are family. You can come on anytime. You're welcome. Just pop in. No invitation. Just come when you want to come in. If you have something you want to, promote, let us know, and we'll get you in. Yep.
And before I head off, I want to say, Clay, it was a pleasure. Brian, always tight. Lewis, the room. Listen, everyone, be easy, and I'll catch you guys soon. Lewis, I can give you a call tomorrow. All right, buddy?
All right, bet.
Take care, everyone.
Appreciate it. All right, see you guys. All right, I'm gonna let somebody else in too, so they can tell lies with you.
I need to be going myself because I got to get up and start this hellhole all over tomorrow. So I guess I'll get off here. Get off here too. So,
well, it was great seeing you, Clay. It was good talking to you.
All right, and, y'all be careful.
Mako Michael is treating you well, and is that new Mac guy a corporate guy, or is he actually a franchise guy?
Well, the guy that owns the truck owns 3 Matco trucks. So
he's Mac trucks, right?
Yeah. He's actually he owns 3 trucks. So my Mac guy's just a driver, but I mean he manages his own inventory and all that stuff, just like it's his own truck. So it's a pretty sweet gig what he's got going. But
yeah, I didn't know if he was a franchise guy or a company guy. Some of those companies do try to run a company guy in there.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm gonna get off here. I enjoyed it. You guys have a great night, and we will see y'all the next time.
That sounds great, Clay. Good talking to you. Thanks a lot.
All right, see you, man. Bye.
What's going on, Brian?
Not much. Just work. Trying to stay out of trouble.
That's no fun.
Yeah, tell me about it. What are you doing?
That's no fun. Well, I got these.
Yeah, I see.
Hey, $8,000 later.
Oh my goodness.
$8,000 later.
How's it? I mean, is it taking a lot to get used to, or is it just?
Well, they did it the 5th. So yesterday was a week. And I went to the doctor this morning, and she trimmed it. She trimmed a little bit and said, "You're doing really good. Just, go from there."
Yeah.
So
Had to relearn to do everything again, right?
well, yeah. I mean, I have a real bad gag reflex, so they weren't sure this was going to work at all. So I mean, because it's like a D, the teeth go around the front, and then it's held in place on the roof of your mouth.
Right.
So, and it seals. So that way, because I mean, they cut me from like here all the way across and just basically filleted that upper gum.
Wow.
And, like I said, the broken teeth were here. So they had to pull the broken teeth out and all that stuff and put the titanium inserts in, $2,800 a piece for the 4 titanium inserts.
Wow.
I told him, I said, "Lady, do you know how much titanium I can buy for $2,800 at 4 times? A lot more than 4 little inserts about like that."
Yeah.
But
so you just got the uppers done, right?
Yeah. Well, we have health savings plans. So they reset in January. So then we'll do the bottoms to match.
Oh, okay.
In January when it rolls over. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's funny because when I asked him, I asked fellow was about my international, and he goes, "Well, delete," and then he goes, "Yeah, our shops don't mess with anything that does delete." Believe it or not, there, Papa Squirrel, the guy who did it offers a 20-year, or not 20-year, I'm sorry, a lifetime warranty. He goes, "You do this, there's 3 or 4 things to do." It's like you don't smoke. If you do smoke, you got to give it so much time to heal and all that. He goes, if you follow these 3 or 4 things, he says the doctor offers a lifetime guarantee on all of his work. And I went, "Damn, you're the first dentist I've ever met that offered a lifetime warranty on his work."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's insane.
Well,
I guess with that price, though.
Oh, initially when I talked to them, they wanted $20,000.
Wow.
They wanted $20,000 for the uppers and $20,000 for the lowers, and I said, "What?" But they started looking at what insurance my wife has got and all that, and so the insurance does cover a little bit more than what we thought. So it ended up being like $8,000, and we put down right at 4,000, I think, down, and then they helped us get financing for the rest of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I might give this guy a call because I was supposed to be in Memphis tonight. I mean, they wanted me to deliver in Memphis today, and I said I got to go see the doctor, and I bought another truck, and I said I just got too much going on. My international's not running right, so I've got a newer Freightliner. Excuse me. So that's what I told him. I said, I'm going to park my international again just till I can get some money together and carry it to Cummins and go, "Call me when this pig is fixed."
Yeah.
Because what they do on these Cummins, it's an ISX 870 series. And what they do is they have what they call a fuel solenoid and a timing solenoid, and that handles 3 injectors. And then there's a fuel shutoff solenoid, and then the back 3. And they're like, "Oh, well, it's showing cylinder imbalance, misfires, yada, yada, yada." Well, these solenoids control the fueling and control how the injectors fire. The guy goes, "Well, replace those solenoids." Well, that's easy for you to say, "I'll just replace them." They're $570 a pop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me just throw $2,400 to replace. And I mean, they're literally like this. They're little bitty things. And you just 3 screws and just boom, boom, boom. And so I'm like, no, so I bought 2, replaced them. The thing runs just slick as a whistle, but it's got no power. It's just absolutely got no power, which sucks because
Yeah.
this is an old tank truck and it's got 390 gears and it's 450 horse and all that. And I said, it ain't, it's not right. It's nowhere near 450 horsepower because with those gears and everything else, this thing should be just pulling houses down the street and it won't get out of its own way. So, but anyways, so I just figured I'd pop on right quick and when Lewis Lee left, he shot me an invite, so I just figured I'd pop on and say, "What's up?"
Yeah, not much. Like I said, just work, trying to keep everybody happy. That's
Oh, I know that feeling. I've got a guy up there near you who I've talked to, who's got a small shop, and he does custom programming on these things. He says, he goes, I forget what he quoted me. He goes, but I'll custom program. He goes, he gets in there and he rewrites the code line by line.
Wow.
And basically tells the computer, don't even look for the EGR. Don't even look for it. It's not even there. So that way, if you get stopped in the DOT and all them go, oh, okay, all this smog and all this crap is there. Computer doesn't even know it's there. So it can be, you can hang everything off of it. Computer's not looking for it. Computer's not going to run it. And he goes, yeah, bring it to me. And he says, give it to me for about 2 days. But he goes, the truck needs to be running right when you bring it to me. And he goes, and I'll reprogram the ECM. And I said, 2 days. He says, yeah. He goes, once I reprogram it, I run it around and make sure there's no issues. There's no check engine lights. There's no codes.
Yeah.
So I said, well, that's a good deal. That's what I'd like to do, but I got to get it running right first. And like I told him, when you do the Cummins Insight, which is their program for, you're probably familiar with that, with Insight, it's, for the Cummins. I don't know what Detroit calls theirs or Cat calls their stuff.
Yeah.
But, you plug it to the Cummins Insight and it tells, and it goes, cylinder imbalance, fuel pressure codes, misfires. I mean, it's just giving all kind of codes. And I talked to one shop who'd worked on a truck and I said, can you check? Because the ISXs are known to have fuel pressure issues. And some of them are fuel pumps, some of them are lift pumps and just, issues. The new, I think it's ISX 15, they call it. They said that thing is a monster. Single overhead cam. They said that thing, they figured out all of the bugaboos from all of the other ISXs and fixed them. And they said that thing is a Godzilla motor. They said that thing runs strong. It don't play. And I said, well, yeah, they've had that ISX out enough, like with anything, you give them enough of a learning curve, they figured it out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the prime example in the gas motor is look at the ISX. I'm sorry, not the ISX, the LS.
Yeah.
Everybody's having the love affair over the LS. And it's funny because I joke with Terry about it all the time. I said, Terry, why is it that you can take an ISX cylinder head and bolt it on a Cleveland or bolt it on a Windsor? He won't talk about it. I said, because it's basically the bolt pattern. It's the 5-on-4 cylinder, the spacing. I said, it's all copied off a Ford motor. I said, you can, I don't talk. Terry, I'm just telling you, it's a copy of a Ford head. It's a copy of a Ford head.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friend, I'm going to shoot you probably text tomorrow. I've got a couple parts that I went through the Matco book. I need to just see what you can get, and we'll go from there because I need to order a couple parts from you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, just let me know anytime, and we'll get to it. And take care and be safe, man. Hopefully,
you too, Brian. Good to see you again. Good to talk with you, man.
Take care.
All right, have a good night, Brian.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. How do you go? How do you turn this thing off? Chat. How the hell you turn this thing off?
It's in that little green button.
Oh, there it is. I'm pushing it. It's not doing anything. Oh, there's leave screen.
There you go.